How you doing, folks? This is Pastor Brian Anderson with our channel, The Word Above All. Before we begin, I just want to remind you to like, subscribe, comment, and share, all that good stuff. We are working our way through the book of Romans, and we are in the great chapter of Romans 8, and we're going to look at verses 5 to 8 today. This is what it says. For those who are according to the flesh set their minds on the things of the flesh, but those who are according to the Spirit, the things of the Spirit. For the mind set on the flesh is death, but the mind set on the Spirit is life and peace, because the mind set on the flesh is hostile toward God. For it does not subject itself to the law of God, for it is not even able to do so. And those who are in the flesh cannot please God. Now you notice when we come to this section of Scripture, Paul has in mind two very different groups of people. Basically, he's talking about non-Christians and Christians. The lost and the saved, those who are in the flesh, those who are in the Spirit. So let's take a look, first of all, at what he says about non-Christians. He says that they are according to the flesh. That's how they are described. They live according to the flesh. Secondly, they set their minds on the things of the flesh. That's where their mind goes, their focus, their preoccupation. Thirdly, he says the mind set on the flesh is death. That's where this lifestyle will lead eventually. Not only physical death, because everyone is going to die physically, but they're dead to God, and they will suffer everlasting death away from the presence of the Lord and the glory of his power. And then he says the mind set on the flesh is hostile toward God. So this person who is in the flesh and is according to the flesh, his mindset is hostile to God. Not friendly. I mean, most non-Christians think that they're friendly towards God, but the scripture says that their mind is hostile toward God and that it does not subject itself to the law of God. It doesn't humble itself to God's law. And it says, Paul says, it's not even able to do so. The person who is in the flesh is not able to submit himself to God's law. He can't do it. And finally, those who are in the flesh cannot please God. He cannot submit himself to the law of God, and he cannot please God. Think about all those that are still unregenerate that you know, and that would be many, many, many people. What Paul says about them is that they can't please God. They can't submit themselves to the law of God. The end of their life is death. Now, let's contrast that with what Paul says here about Christians. He calls them those who are according to the Spirit. And in verse 9, I don't have it open here. Let me read to you from Romans 8, verse 9. However, he says, you are not in the flesh, but in the Spirit, if indeed the Spirit of God dwells in you. So he says that the Christian is in the Spirit. He's according to the Spirit. He says that the Christian sets his mind on the things of the Spirit. That's where his focus and preoccupation is. And then he says the result of that kind of a life is life and peace. The mind set on the Spirit is life and peace. So these two groups of people are polar opposites. They couldn't be different. The non-Christian is in the flesh, according to the flesh, sets his mind on the things of the flesh. The result is death, hostility toward God, and an inability to submit himself to the law of God. Bottom line, he can't please God. The Christian is in the Spirit, according to the Spirit. He sets his mind on the things of the Spirit, and the result for him is life, everlasting life, and peace. So, my friend, if you are still in the flesh, you've got a horrible destiny awaiting you. You've got misery and death awaiting you. You've got an absence of the gracious presence of God awaiting you. You need to get in the Spirit. And my friend, if you are a Christian, you are in the Spirit. And you have God to thank for that, because God is the one who sent his Spirit into your heart so that you would be born again and a child of God, adopted into his family. He deserves the glory and the praise for what he has done in your life.